Okay, so we are live streaming now. And I've been waiting for this for, I think it's 2 weeks now. Yes, Yossi Ronen. When I read the book by Yossi over the holidays, I knew that Yossi is... Okay, so we are live streaming now. Just 1 minute. And I need to turn this
I've been
off.
waiting.
Okay, so now that's off. Yeah, so I've really been waiting to be able to talk to Yossi again. When I read the book by Yossi over the holidays, I knew that Yossi is another one of these very, very special people that I find so frequently amongst people making contact with ETs. And that's one of the reasons why I love making contact with ETs, with our visitors, because I meet these wonderful people, these people who are so caring, who there's a deep heart consciousness, an awareness that resides in the heart, and their mind expands to perspectives and possibilities and perceptions way beyond what we can put into words. Now, Yossi's done an amazing job with putting words to this in his book. But I knew there was more behind this. So what I did was I contacted Yossi. We were already friends on Facebook. And when Yossi and I Zoomed together, I knew that when Yossi speaks, there is a transmission happening that is layered behind the words themselves. And so I got so excited about our multi-level conversation that I could have gone on forever. But I kept on cutting it short because I felt that Yossi's awareness and his experience and perception is so important to share with a wider audience. And so, Yossi, I'm so happy that you are here and that we can continue our conversation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and I think the best thing is to just bring people up to speed, and why don't you just share your experience again, Yossi? Let's start there.
Yes, okay.
Experience.
Yes. Well, my name is Yossi Ronen. Yossi is a Hebrew short name for Yosef, which is Joseph, actually in English. So this is the weird name Yossi. I wanted to explain where it came from. Now the contact happened in 81. I was 21 years old, and I was invited with my brother to live with him in LA, to work with him. He has a small business there. And I went to work with him. And this time I wasn't I had any interest in UFOs or things like that. On those years there was no internet or things like this that I even heard about it. And it happened in a very sudden way in my life. It's like one day it happened, and it influenced really all of my life till now. And the way it happened is I will explain. It was the contact had two phases. The first phase was when I was asleep, and I was like out of my body and dreaming of them. And then I woke up and saw them with my eyes open, conscious, face to face. It seems that they did it on purpose, and I will tell how it happened. It was evening, it was still daytime, and I went to rest in my bed. It was in the living room, and my brother slept in his bedroom. And I fell asleep, and for the first time in my life, I saw myself out of my body. It was a very weird, I mean, I had 2 or 3 times after that, but that was the first time that I was out of my body, and I was looking at my bed sleeping from the outside. Now that situation of you be like watch yourself from outside is very, very influencing, because in that situation you understand that you are not only your body. It's the first time I realized that who am I is not this body that's sleeping there. And the essence of who you are is very different, because you don't have really a body, your body there on the bed, but you can watch what's going on around you. You can feel, and you can see and hear even much more than what you can feel usually in the body. It's like your consciousness is much more open and don't have any limits of the usual body. And I felt good. I felt very pleasant and happy about that. And suddenly I saw that these creatures in the room, that was the first time that I saw them. And at that situation, it looked very nice. I mean, there was one standing near my body, very close to him, watching my body, watching my head, and communicate in a way. And there are some 3 or 4 more in the room, walking, touching things. And they look very like curious, and one took a paper and crumbled it in his hands, like feeling it. And they were very in a good mood. So do I. In that out-of-body experience, which was like a dream, we made a very good connection. And what I remembered after I wake up is that they were like my family. It looked like I know them because we were laughing, we were communicate with each other with a very good connection, and very much love for each other. And we were in a very good feeling for each other. We laughed, and then I woke up. And I woke up with my head still to the wall, and I thought to myself, what a weird dream I had, with a couple of green creatures walking in the room, and we laughed together. And how I came to this weird imagination, because there were no pictures of aliens then. It was 81. I didn't saw any figures like these small aliens. So I thought to myself, what a weird dream that I had. I didn't realize that it was a real out of body. I thought I was dreaming me out of my body. That was the first thought in the beginning when I wake up. And then I'm still with my eyes to the wall. I heard behind me noises in the room of strange voices and touching things and maybe walking. And I thought maybe a thief came to the room. I felt a little bit tense, so I turn around and sit on the bed. And then it was very frightened because I saw them, the same creatures that I saw before, that I thought it's a dream. I saw them standing there and looking at me. And the one that in the dream was standing near my bed was sitting right in front of me, looking at me with his big black eyes. And I was really shocked. The first feelings that I had was I was very frightened. I didn't understand what's going on. I thought that maybe I lost my mind, or maybe I'm still keep on dreaming and think that I woke up. But I pinch myself to understand what's going on, and I'm sitting, my eyes open, and I see them still, and they're looking at me, don't do nothing. That just was, maybe there was surprise, I don't know. But we were just looking to each other. And then from the confusion and the fear of what's going on, and I started to be paralyzed from fear. My muscles began to be tense, and I didn't know what to do. And the one that was standing near me was looking to my eyes, and I could felt that he really he knows what I think. He feel what I feel. And that was even more frightened because I thought that he's like controlling me. In the beginning, I thought this is a very strong being or creature. I don't know. I didn't realize what's going on yet. And I thought that this creature is like so strong and that it can control my mind, control my thoughts, and I didn't know what to do. And I felt this pain of fear. And from that's then, but I remember that a minute ago, when in the out-of-body experience, I felt, I will close this page just a minute. Okay. I remember that a minute ago in the out-of-body, I felt good with them. So I tried to lower my fear a little bit to see maybe the fear is only my fear. Maybe the fear is something that is going on with me and there is nothing to be afraid of them because a minute ago we were laughing they were like my friend from childhood or family. And as I lowered my fear, I started to realize that the same as he observing my thoughts, I can observe him too. And this is a two-way communication. It's not only that he can observe mine. And so I started to realize that the communication is actually kind of connecting consciousness to consciousness. And the fear was because I didn't know it yet. It was the first time that I feel oneness with someone else, with some other intelligence. And this oneness felt for me like someone is going inside of me without permission, because I didn't know how to contain it, this oneness. And when I relaxed my fear, I realized that they are all open, like the one that was standing near me. They are open to each other and they are open to me, and I could really be one with them. They let me do that. They let me participate with their consciousness. Now their consciousness was amazing. It was peaceful, without any ego at all. They were like like innocent, very innocent children. I say children because that's how we consider innocence. But their innocence was from very smart point. It was not innocence of not knowing something. It was innocence of really understanding the nature that is innocence. And they were like that. So they didn't have any ego because of that. They were not hiding their thoughts or feelings from each other, because naturally they felt each other. And in that situation, I felt that I can like travel through their consciousness, see what they see, feel what they felt. And the strong things that their consciousness was aware of is what was a very strong loving thing that struck me with a very powerful feeling of love. And that light was something that they were aware of. And I was very curious about that, because I felt that this love and light that they feel, they are very, in one side, aware of this light, and on the other side, they are very humbled, and like they feel that this light is the real essence of their living, of nature itself. That's the way they know this light. So for me, it was like something like God. So I asked them, what is that light? This is God? Like, now I asked without words. There were no communication of any words between us. Because consciousness was one, we didn't have to talk. We like share consciousness. And I say it in words now, like questioned with words, but it was just, I wanted to go in their consciousness to understand something, and I translate it to words. And it seems that this thing that I call God for them was not something that they comprehend like we try to do. For them, it's real natural thing that is the essence of everything, the essence of nature itself, and everything that they know in each minute that it gave them life in every second. And this is another reason that they don't have ego, because they really feel that they are not made by accident, or like we think. We don't know who we are and what are we doing here. They know that they are like made by something very big. So my curious wanted to go there inside, but it seems that it was too much for me. I felt from them that it's not something that I can do. I could not understand it, because probably I wanted to understand it in my rational thinking, to have it, to understand it, to know what is it, what is beyond it. And they knew that I could not handle it. So that was a reason for them to end the communication between us. It was too much for me. They felt that I'm start to hurt myself by doing that. So they decided to stop the communication, but they wanted to let me have some kind of a vision that in the years I realized that many people that have this communication with them have this vision too. They started to show me like a movie, that I'm inside the movie, and in that movie that I'm inside of, I'm in a green field with the beautiful blue sky and green grass and trees, high trees, and a couple of cows eating the grass very peacefully. And suddenly a strong fire burst from the horizon and burning everything. And the feeling that I got from them, it was a very painful feeling of not doing the right, not it's like it was my responsibility that I let that is our responsibility as human beings living in this earth that made that happen. Like, it's our responsibility to prevent it. It was not like they are saying to me, look, this is going to happen. They just want me to feel the pain of what can happen if we will not realize what is going on. And I felt such a sorrow and pain. You know, I saw the cows that they were looking at me they made this a movie. You know, they made me watch the cows looking at my eyes a second before they were burned. And they like showing me the innocence of those cows that they thought I protect them. And by that, they like try to let me understand that I should protect nature and the living animals, like they are like depend on us. And this was the end of the communication. I couldn't stand it anymore. I said that it's too much for me. It was too strong. I felt that I'm almost or losing my consciousness or I'm going to die. It was very, very strong to be in front of them, and those feelings that I had was too strong. So what they done, they went to the other side of the room and hold their hands in a circle. They stand in a circle and hold their hands and started to make a circle walking that become faster and faster. They became to be very transparent and white and light circle that spin very fast, and that spinning circle became very small till it disappeared from my eyes. And that's it. That was the end of the contact, of the face-to-face contact. My body relaxed from that, and I remember that I shout. My body, when my body was released from the high tense of my muscles, a shout came out from my mouth, and then I went out of the room and started to thinking about what happened. Am I lose my mind totally, or something really happened, and it was too strong, too weird to get it very simple. But I had many years from then to understand what really happened. So now maybe you talk some. I talk too much.
Yes. Well, we've got a few questions, and I myself have ideas also, of course, but let's look at the questions first. Let's start with, did these entities identify where they were from?
Yes, it really was one of the so-called questions that I asked them. So it wasn't words. I translated to like question that I asked them. I asked them where you came from. Did you came from a different star? And the reaction was very. They were laughing. It's weird for me to say that, but like I hearing laughing, their face didn't change. Their face looked the same, like they are not talking or smiling. But I felt their laugh from that question, and they gave me the answer in a shot of without start and end. It was amazing how they gave you their their answer with their consciousness. They don't have to talk. They just let you have their truth, their existence, their consciousness. And what it means is that they didn't, for me to think about something very far, the most far place was a different far star. But where they really came from is was a different dimension. And even the word different dimension is the most close translation that I can understand myself of that. So we can say it's a different dimension, but probably there is some more information about that I still only can say different dimension.
Also, in your book, you speak about as soon as we have space, we have the possibility of being separate. And when we don't have space, we can all be in that oneness.
Yes. This is something that is I think is very important about them and us. I mean, the way they were communicating with each other was very, very special. There were one, but they didn't have one brain. Each one of them have his own personality, his own consciousness, but they were connected in a way that they could share their consciousness. So there were one. There was a differentiation between them, but there is no separation between them.
Isn't it also interesting if we go there and you've talked about the fear, it really means that we are in full integrity so that we can share who we are completely, fully in the way we are. Yossi, we've got so many questions here. Let me just pick this one. Are they visiting again? Are they making contact again? Are you making contact with them again?
Well, before I decided to write the book, I wanted to meet with them again because I was not sure how to do that. I knew it's going to be very difficult, but to write in words things that was only experience without any words that communicate between us. So I wanted to get help from them, and I tried to meet them face to face, but I couldn't do that. It seems that in that time, what I try to do is make a deep meditation that will connect to the place that I have in my consciousness that remember the connection. I used to do that, and I do it all the time, and this is a way of communication with them without face-to-face contact, and it's much more easier than face-to-face. So, but on that time, I tried to do that, and I realized that my body is not ready for that. It's not so easy like it was on the first time. It seems that the face-to-face was, I could do that because they really helped me and find the right moment, and I was ready from many other reasons that I don't know probably. But the communication now is only by dreams. They do it very, I had 2 or 3 dreams that I had a very detailed, specific dream that they want me to understand things from those dreams. And they're in the book, and they are very specific. And even now that there have been 10 years after the dream, I still learn from that. They are very...
Yeah. Yes. So one of the questions is, what did they look like? Now, I think that's where you can hold up the cover of the book, because
yes,
you actually painted them and
yes.
yeah.
This is how do they look to me? I paint that sometimes after the contact, but the way they look is another thing that it took me time to really understand, because they have a body. When we contact face to face, I could really see them in a physical form, and it seems that they can have a physical body, or they can move to our physical dimension and go back to their dimension. I don't know how they do that, but probably they can. But the physical form that I saw was not so solid as we watch other things. And they try to explain it to me. And what they really made me understand, it was in an automatic writing once that I had, that they say that the way we look, the way we see them, it's a combination of our translation of something that it's not from this dimension, that is half here and half not. What it means is that each one that look at them can see them differently, because the way our bodies see them is connected to our ability to translate something that is not physical. So a different personality can translate it a little bit different. And I believe why this is one of the reasons that we can hear that people that had the contact and they saw frightened one, and the other one saw them like an angel, and other one saw them like a beam of light. I think that they all are those beings that we see them in a different way of translation. Now, it doesn't mean that they are all the same. There is differentiation between the beings, probably, but they are not separate. They are not separate but we can understand only from separation. We cannot understand how a glass on the table is the same thing. We have to separate the glass to say we don't have any other choice. So when we look at them, each one see a different one. And that's why it's so, yes, okay.
Yeah, it's the way you phrased it in the book was the difference between separation and distinction.
Yes.
So we can
Yes.
distinguish one from another without having to separate ourselves from everything else.
Yes, this is a very basic thing that try to made me realize that is the difference that we are doing it with ourselves too. What I mean is that we have two main way of consciousness, and I saw it when I contact them. When I was sleeping and out of my body or dreaming, I saw them through my deep consciousness, not from my eyes. And then, and in that situation, it was very nice and very open and happy. And when I saw them in my physical consciousness, it was different. So we interpret in two different ways, depend on in what consciousness we use or how we use our consciousness. So the deeper consciousness of us, the higher one, see much more of the wide picture and see the connection between the things. But our brain, when we are waking up and we in the usual way of looking at things, and it's healthy one, it's really the way our physical body should see things. We see it like through the differences, through the measurement of one from each other.
I really loved that diagram that you have in the book with the wave and the particles. You quote quantum physics and the scriptures and everything. If you show that wave, can you show it? You've got it in your book, don't you?
Yes, yes.
And it's like our consciousness is on that level of separation where we only see the highest amplitude of the wave. So it's a blip, 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 almost like we're watching a movie with, we're seeing actually photos, but all together, yes, all together. Let me just bring that up closer. Yeah.
The science today, when they look inside the particles, they can notice that the particles have a wave behavior or like a ball behavior. Two separate ways of behavior, but it's from the same thing. What the quantum science realized that our way of looking at those small particles is I will say it in another way. They realized that the smallest parts of the atom behave in a very different way physically from the matter that we see usually the big things like the big atoms and this kind of stuff. But the thing is that small particles are the basic of the larger one. And it's what they realize that the basis of our all of our normal physics is a totally different rules or laws, and we now start to see it only on the small size of the particles. And science is really, scientists are really don't don't know how to explain it. They use it for many, many things, this mathematics, but the meaning of that is very spiritual, because there is no time limit or place limit for those particles. They can be here and there at the same time. They could be a wave, or a wave that it's like a cloud, or it could be a small ball, like in a certain place and time. And our consciousness usually see only the ball in a certain place and time. We have time in our usual day. And that's the way we measure things. We measure time, we measure space, but actually the basis of it don't have any time and space. We do the time and space in our normal consciousness.
Yes.
And
Which is just that little slit of consciousness rather than having the consciousness of the full wave.
yes, and okay.
Yeah, we have a question here. Did they tell you what they want us to do?
Well, the thing is that what I realized that they want to help us to develop our consciousness. And it seems that those meetings that they have with us made us doing what we just doing now. Like we're talking about, we try to understand who they are and what is the meaning of the connection and what they want from us and what did they came, what is the meaning of the other dimension. And it seems that this is the purpose of what they are doing. They are lighting up our need to understand what's going on. But they don't give us the answers, because the thing is that our development is depending on our struggle to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And if we will say or come or show themselves and we see it all, we didn't do the main thing that is important, is that development. So that's why they show themselves in a very small, a very few times, and a very small proportion, to let us to try to understand.
Yeah, I'd also like to just add that we were asked about contact. Are we still in contact? And Yossi and I were talking, and today I had the feeling, I was meditating before I came on, I had the feeling all of a sudden that they were there. And you too, Yossi, you sometimes just have that feeling that they're there.
Yes, yes, the thing is that this other dimension that they came from is not really a different place from where we are sitting now. It seems that this other dimension is here and now and everywhere, and the distance that we have from that other dimension is only in our perception. It seems that there is a everything is in a one dimension. I have this theory in my book that everything is one. The meaning of that everything is one, that there is one dimension, not in a way that we talk about dimensions like height and depth, but spirit dimension that includes all the dimensions, including our dimension and the way we see. What I mean is that they can be here near us and we just don't realize that, because we are in a different dimension of, by the way we consciously aware of or not.
Yes. I want to go back to something you said. You said that it would, if the contact had been longer, it would have impacted your health. Either you would have died or you would have lost consciousness. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. The thing is that it's like there is there is this the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is something from Judaism. There are people that try to understand the high secrets of the Bible. And these are very deep and deep spiritual learning. And it's in every culture there is. The Sufis of the Muslims, and there are many groups of people that try to understand those secrets. And those secrets actually are the higher dimension that we try to understand by our limited consciousness. So from the Kabbalah, the rules are that you should learn it only when you get 40, when you are married and you have kids, because that can be harmful for you if you study it. If you are younger and you are not ready, you have to be ready to meet this dimension and not get lost in it, because you can get confused. You can watch it, you can talk about it in a different way, that this is like they are in a very high frequency or vibration, and when you try to have their vibration and you are not ready to that, it could harm you. It's the same like you are like, those beings have a strong love. For instance, their love is immense, very, very strong one. And for us, it could be if we are not ready to have this love, it's like too much light. It's like burning you because it's so strong. So I hope this is.
Yeah, yes, I understand. It's like this, as though we were getting an electrical shock, actually.
Yes, you don't have the capacity to have it.
Yes. So what do we need to do with our bodies? What do we need to do to be able to handle it?
Yes, I think that the point of the door to be open for that development is in our consciousness and the way we learn ourselves. We can do it in many ways. I think that the many religious, deep religion people and spiritual ways are really have the knowledge of doing that, because this is something that is very very common to each one of us, that have the ability to connect to his essence, to his soul. It's like that, in a simple way, is to connect our normal consciousness with our upper consciousness, with our soul, and to start to have in a normal consciousness, to be open to the soul. And it's not so easy, because the soul is like, his language is very different. it's very symbolic and emotion and very wide. And our normal consciousness is have specific things like words and uh, he and we bit by bit can open our consciousness to really try to understand this all of this richness.
Yes, and you also speak, you're quoting some of the scriptures, and you talk about this vision of where we're heading. That you're talking about where Jeremiah talks about the lion will eat grass because the lion will not be a meat eater anymore. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, after years after the contact, I try to find in our culture wisdom that is talking the same like those beings. Like because I felt the oneness and I knew it, I try to find it in our wisdom. And I really saw it in many different religions, even shamanic. Many wisdoms are really touching this thing. But the most deepest one I saw many years after that on the Bible. And I'm not religious, I wasn't religious at all. But suddenly I saw that in the Bible, it is hinted in many places. For one instance, the name of God in the Bible is one. And this is something very important that I think that we don't understand what it means, because for me, as a Jew that learned the Torah in the school, they told us, that Judaism is a monotheism, which it means that you believe in one God, not like primitive people that believe in many gods, and that's it. They don't let you really understand what it means one God. And what you realize what I realized when I read the Bible is that the meaning of that one God, it really meaning that it is that everything is one and we are part of it. And this is the real meaning of our understanding that is going to develop to realize that everything is one. And God is something that we cannot really understand, but only can try to achieve the awareness of that. And this awareness of God is one. It's written everywhere that in the day of the days, the name of God will be one. I think the Bible say it all the time. And when they what you said about the day that peace will come to earth and the lion will eat grass, it's connected to that. In the Bible is written beautifully that when God made men and women, they let them give names to the animals. And the real essence of that is that the man consciousness, the human consciousness, is really influence the animal's consciousness. And they are, and when that's why in heaven there were no animals didn't eat any other animals, and men didn't eat animals. But after they fall from heaven, which is the fall of our consciousness, the even the animals started to be started their consciousness went down with us. And we can, if we gonna higher our consciousness and be much more open to our soul, all the animals gonna behave differently. They're gonna be, and it's written there in Jeremiah about the end of days that the lion gonna eat grass and this kind of stuff. And I believe that it could be happen. It's not a legend.
No, it's not a legend. And this is where I always love to bring in the example of when I was staying with Pat Pearsall, who's on the call here now too. She has 2 parrots, she has 2 cats and 2 dogs. And she just holds that space of, in this household, nobody eats anybody else.
Yeah.
And so the parrot just waddles along the hallway or flies along the hallway, and the cats don't react. They don't twitch an eyelid. The dogs just keep on flopping there. Nothing happens. Nobody eats anybody else. That's, and what you said, Yossi, about giving names, I find that so interesting. The power of names, that we were given the ability to create by naming something, by giving names, by naming the animals, by naming our children. And sometimes we change our names just because we want to be in a different frequency. And that's that power of word, that power of calling something by one name. Yes, that's the way we create. And you also said that this is how we connect to the essence and the purpose of life. So you spoke about your name, Yossi. What do you connect with your personal name? I don't know. Do you want to share?
Joseph. Yes, all it's a Hebrew name. So the essence of the name is to Joseph is to put, I don't know how to say it in English, is to, I don't know the English word for that. It's to put another thing above. It's very symbolic.
Say it in Hebrew, and maybe a person here can translate it, because
Lehosif. It's
okay, so maybe someone can put it in there. Oria or sneer in English. To add. Does that make sense to you, Yossi?
Yes, it's something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or to enhance. Sneer is saying to enhance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the Bible, the name is very, very important, because when God want Abraham to be the father of all the nations, he told him, your name from now is not going to be Avram, it's going to be Abraham. He just put another letter to his name to change his path for many, many years after that. So the name in Hebrew, Shem, is direction. The other meaning of the word name in Hebrew is direction, Sham.
Wow.
Shem, Sham. Sham is the target, it's the direction. So
in a way, this is encouraging us to be very careful with what we say and how we name things, how we define things.
Yes, and this is all the language, all of our language is names. We have names. Language is names, and that's why language and the way we speak or the way we think in words can make a very change if we understand if we understand the words, the really meaning of the words and the connection of the words with each other. I think this is one of the ways that we can develop our consciousness, is from understanding our way of thinking, because we think in words. We can think, or we can imagine things, and we put them to thinking of words. And if we gonna widen the meaning of the words, we're gonna widen our consciousness, because it's all of the buildings of our thinking is with words. That's why it's so important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Sneer is just saying Yosef means enhancing the light. Yosef R. How beautiful. You are enhancing the light by your experience. Isn't that beautiful? That's just amazing. Yeah. Yes, this name giving, and yes, we think in words, and yet when we go deeper to a deeper consciousness, we have that contact like you had with the visitors, where it's not words anymore.
Yes, this is what's amazing, because when I realized that when I started to write, and I tried to write in words their way of thinking, and I saw that I don't have any words for that, because their thinking was before of the words. I mean, the experience of love that they felt, it should be written in hundreds of sentences.
Yeah.
But we say only love. So what is going on there, that I realized that our language is the higher, is very, it's very from one side, the language is from the left side of our brain. It's very logic. It's like mathematical. There are letters and words. Every word have its own meaning, and the way we use the words influence our thinking. But the right side don't think with words. The right side have only archetype, symbolic things. And when we will develop our way of language in our thinking between us, when we think, we're going to open our small left side of the brain to the right side, and we're going to widen the connection between them. And I think this is the main physical thing that can happen or will happen for us. We're going to use both of our sides in more oneness ability, and we can really experience reality differently.
Isn't it also with words, when we use words, it's almost like we're going to those particles, one word, another word, another word, instead of the whole wave, the whole concept of something?
Yes, that's it. We have to make differences of different words to give an idea.
Yeah.
But the idea is one, and we have to like give many parts for that idea.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we've still got lots of questions. Do the things we do in our dimension have an impact on their dimension?
yes, I think yes, because it's connected.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, what I felt from them is that they want us to feel good, or they want us to feel love, to be open, because they, in their consciousness, we are part of them. And when we will be open and feel love, for them, it's a new love. They see it differently. We see we see us as different people from each other. They don't see it like that. They see all the picture, and when we develop, they feel it like they develop. So that's why there is always connection between the two sides.
Yes, and that feeds into, you say, wherever you do not see love, be prepared to accept that you're not seeing reality as it is. So you're saying that even when we think we're seeing evil, it's still love.
Yes, yes. This is something that it's something that we deal all day, and we. The thing is that yes, the essence or the basic of everything is love. It's very simple, but it is. And when we do our life and we struggle with pain and bad things, we forget or we try to fight with it, and we try to eliminate it. But if we will be remember that everything is love, even the bad things that we see, we're going to behave with that differently. It's not that we're not going to see the bad. The opposite, we should understand what is bad, what is good, but we should connect them. It's in a way not to see the differences, to see differentiation. And when you see the differentiation and the connection between the good and bad, you see the picture. And when you do the connection, it's the light that came inside the bad thing. The all symbolic things of like never mind, I should have a picture for that. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just answering, yes, Jan, that's the correct quote. Whenever we don't see love, we don't see the reality. It's on, let me see, page 121. Wherever you do not see love, be prepared to accept that you are not seeing reality as it is. Yeah, and thank you, Sunir. Love is the essence of CE5. That's exactly it. If we want to make contact, that's where we need to be. Yeah. There was also the question of, has this contact impacted your profession, Yossi?
Well, yes. I used to. I was planning on learning electronics and this kind of stuff, but it changed everything. I started to learn art and graphics, and it really changed my life very, very much. Yeah.
Yes, and you have some beautiful graphics on your website. We might get to them in a bit and can show them. But I've got another question here. Do you know more people who had direct contact with them? I'm not sure whether them is about exactly these people.
Yes.
Or any.
Yes, I I had 40 years of checking what's going on with this, and I met a couple of people here in Israel that have a very not very similar contact, and each one of them have it different from each other. And their stories really helped me to understand what's going on, because it's really that each personality that had this contact translate the contact in connection with his personality. But for each one of them, that was a really step to the spiritual world. It's straight going there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and me too. I've had on the ground contact, physical contact, and several times. And it just changes you. It just,
Yeah.
And then sometimes I wonder, what does it take to make that contact? What attitude or what frequency and what space we need to be in? And you said it needs to be that love frequency. So it's not a show, it's not a demand. You now have to come and show up or anything like that. That's not how it works.
Yes, it's very close to here. It's very inside of us.
Yeah.
We don't have to go nowhere. And if we
Yeah.
feel calm and secure and we can develop our consciousness to observe it and have it. The thing is that we, in the beginning, we are mixed up with, is it imagination or is it real? Or, but we all do it. And many people have this communication and learn from that very much, from that communication.
And then it's so exciting to meet someone who's had the same experience where you know instantly without too many words that, wow, yeah, you understand exactly what's going on. Yeah.
Yes, we have to learn much more. You know, what I know is only what I know. I really think that many people should come and talk and tell their experience for that we can all combine them and see the whole picture.
Yes. Yes, because we are one too. There's another question here. In their dimension, do they have a body as we understand it? Do they, when they inhabit a planet, or are they basically spirits? And I think you spoke to that because they're of a different dimension. But is there anything you want to add to that?
Yes, what I think that they are really, they are spirits, and what I found is something that surprised me very much too, is that it seems that the deep explanation of the angels in the Bible is really touch the same thing that what I experienced. Because in the Bible, the word angels in Hebrew is malachim. Malachim, it means workers of something, doing the service of something.
Mm-hmm.
And those creatures really did the service of the one light. That was their joy and happiness, to serve that oneness by come in contact with us and letting us to really come to realize that. And the angels did that too. So I don't think there is so much differentiation between the angels and these beings that came to visit us.
Yes, yes. Now, just want to say, if I have not read out your question, if you still have a question, please put it in the chat, because I'm scrolling here and I might have overlooked your question. And yes, we will be making it public, so you will be able to see it later on once we've cut out whatever needs to be cut out. And thank you for helping here, those of you who've offered to help. I'd like to stop the live streaming on YouTube now. So thank you everybody who's watching this on YouTube. I'll be posting the link, all the links, the link to the book. Oh, there was one more question. Will there be a second book?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. Okay.